what's learning going to look like in the next 20 years as this Web3 revolution continues? We're already trying to implement some of these things in our everyday life right now. Things like connecting a wallet to learn for courses, or getting a decentralized asset as a textbook that you can use for future learning. What will that look like when it actually all comes together? That's what we're talking about today with Max from Wisdom Courses, who's really thinking about the technology required to make these learning outcomes an actuality. All right, Max, we're bringing it home.
Hey, it's nice to see you again, Nadia. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. So last time we talked a lot about how we were going to organize the free course versus the DEA-gated course. And that conversation was extremely helpful for me because I actually was able to figure out how to organize these questions. So for the free version, we went through and just where it's just going to be the video. People are going to get questions specific to what's in the video because they won't have anything beyond that. And that'll let them validate it. And I'm guessing that at the end of that, they're just going to earn credit within the ecosystem like anyone would for creating a course. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And then within that, I'm going to build the explanation that they can go mint this DEA workbook with stuff. And then we'll have a second version that is the gated version where they can come in. And the workbook itself, we actually were able to build out a lot more. And what I did was I built in reflection questions and all kinds of things that would require maybe a little more feedback. But the verify section at the end is all pretty much like questions that have a reasonably definite answer. It's deeper thinking, but so it's not just like true or false. It's actually like thought-provoking stuff where they'll have to really consider it. But the Wisdom Courses system is going to be able to say that was correct or that was not correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so basically what it does is it's dependent on what you input, right? So you'll create the quiz yourself within the course, and then you'll be allowed to basically say, okay, this is the correct answer, and then they'll be able to determine, okay, the system will determine either you got the wrong answer, you got the right answer, and we could even make it where. Because right now with the current feature, just to be a little bit more friendly to new users, the way it works for most courses is that the quiz, even if you get it wrong, you'll still be able to continue. But what we can actually do in your instance, at the end of that paid course, we can make it where they can't pass or move on until they get, let's say a passing grade at your discretion, 80%, 90%. 95, you know what I mean? So we can definitely kind of customize it and tailor it to how we need for that situation.
Great. The only other thing that came out of me thinking about it from our conversation was that when we have those reflection questions, if someone's going to complete reflection questions, it's likely that they're thinking deeply and that they would probably benefit from talking about it, right? Because they're so subjective. So we're going to build into this a layer of a cohort, which is that option, like we talked about, for having the group come together who wants to take it a little bit deeper. So what I think we'll do, I talked with Sheila about this a good amount too, whether or not we should have done like next level DEAs or whether we just mint an NFT. So I'm thinking that with NMaker, we'll just mint an NFT, maybe a certain number of them, like a couple hundred of them. And as part of the promotion of the course, we'll say, the first 200 people who say that they would like to participate or who enroll will get this NFT and they'll get to participate in a cohort for 90 days. And that will be, it'll have extra things like, being able to be on live calls where they can ask questions. They'll get a little extra feedback on their responses if they want.
Yeah. I'll just add on to this real quick. So that's kind of similar to what Plutus Pioneers was doing, with the cohorts. And, I'm interested to see how this first cohort goes. And, potentially for that second one, in our Fund 12 proposal, what we have is that LMS product that we're going to go public. Hopefully in the next month or two, we're going to go public with it. And I think it's actually perfect for what you're talking about here because, as you mentioned with the video calls, our LMS, it's more similar to like Canvas or I think it's called Moodle, if I'm not mistaken. It's the like college LMSs, a lot of universities use them. And you could do video calls, direct messages between students and other students and the teacher, announcements. The teachers can send an announcement to everybody. I'll actually send you a link later today of the demo site. You can check it out. I think it's going to be perfect for what you're doing here. So while we may not be able to get it quite ready yet for that first cohort, I think if we can get it ready for the first one, I'd be happy to. But if not, definitely for that second one, we could bring it into the mix and it'll kind of offer everything you're looking at here.
That's fantastic, because that is one thing that I'm thinking a lot about. It's like no one in Web3, well, many people in Web3, we don't like giving our emails out. It's like, we're like, what do you mean email? I don't want to, I got a wallet, but for communicating and for stewarding a community that is both new people and existing to Cardano, that is a challenge unless you're sending people into like Discord. We don't have a Discord. And I think having Discord sort of gives the impression that you're really ready at all times to answer questions, or that you have moderators in there. And we just don't have that infrastructure on our team. But I think if we had a space like that where people could learn together, that would be really cool, because what I'm hoping happens from this is that people who take the course and take part in the cohort become people who want to then establish their own cohorts. Right. Yeah. And so the workbook is designed for that, such that someone, if they're a little more than a layperson, but not quite intermediate yet, they at least could say, okay, the workbook questions for this lesson are this. What do you guys think? And they could talk about it in like a less academic, but more sort of collaborative way. So,
yeah. I'll add on too, like you said, the workbook that you're building, this course, it's a model, kind of like what we're doing and frankly, all of our collaborative efforts here. We're building a model to show how we can educate within this industry, a different way to do it, a way that, not only does an instructor have to, slave away, because for some instructors, they're really pouring in everything, like you're doing with your workbook. It's not an easy job, right? So, creating a model that's actually successful, creating that infrastructure, creating a template with this workbook to show other creators that it'll work too. And I'll also add about your comments on the Discord. The nice thing about this LMS is actually going to be that you can't just join the cohort, right? You have to be let in by the instructor, or could make it kind of like how we already have the infrastructure where you have for an NFT, right? And there's no way to manipulate that. There's no way to exploit that, right? So you're not. It's not like a Discord server where you're gonna have 40 different scammers saying, hey, go to this link, go to this, and it's just not a pleasant medium of communication in an educational setting. You know what I mean? So that then this is going to be perfect for what you're describing here.
Great. I think that is like a key missing piece, and that's going to be really fantastic for people in the future. I think that's a big piece. So we're gonna soft launch. I'm hoping that I'm gonna get this milestone in with this video as a part of, definitely in a day or two. And then the last one is actually just bringing the courses live and minting everything, and then just marketing it. So and as a part of that,
you're pretty close to finishing, right?
Well, yes.
Still got to go to, but final touches.
Yeah, final touches. The building, it was cool, but it actually turned out exactly like I was hoping, because we had such great conversations along the way. And I think we hopefully would fast track anyone who's coming to do like a more robust offering. It's one thing to make a couple of videos about, how to make a cup of coffee or something, but it's another thing to really think about learners of all different kinds and to try to really serve all of them with one thing, which is what this was. So I hope that people are also really served by these videos, because the conversations required us to process so much stuff. But yeah, so we're approaching the finish line. So I'm hoping to have the courses live by the 5th and the DEA ready to mint the workbook. The workbook is like way longer and bigger than I thought it was going to be, which is cool. It's like well over 100 pages, which is, fun.
This is a solid document here,
Yeah. It definitely is. I think the questions are really good and, relevant. And so, like you were always saying, I want people to come through this and actually do the stuff that they're learning, because otherwise why bother, especially with DeFi? It's like, if you're not going to take advantage of it, it's nice to know, I guess. But And so the 5th, we'll soft launch the courses. There'll be the free courses, just always going to be free, and they'll earn whatever they're going to earn. I still don't quite understand. I think probably we'll have to build in the credential stuff later on once you guys have that up, because there's not really that yet.
I'll actually comment on that right now. So we're actually going pretty ahead of schedule already on the Fund 13 proposal, despite already starting. I've actually got my development team in the next 2 weeks. He's actually going to be working on the proof of submission protocol and the proof of knowledge, right? So hopefully within about a month and a half time frame, our expectation is that we'll actually have both of those protocols developed, even though it's in milestone 3. And our timeline was a few months out from when we actually started. We're moving out pretty quickly. So I think in the near future, like I said, it's not probably going to be on that launch date, but very soon thereafter, we're going to be able to have it where you can credential. Like I said in our prior conversation, it's a multifaceted approach, a multifaceted feature. You can make it where if you want, they could actually mint an NFT, or it could be like a document that they could save to their computer, like a file or something like that, or email to them. You know what I mean? So we've got a couple options here. We'll see as once we finalize whether it's going to be by email or just kind of a certificate you save and then kind of present elsewhere. We'll kind of play around with that. But definitely for the minting as an NFT, perhaps I'm sure that might be the better approach on your end. But it's definitely up to you what you'd like. But we'll get that done pretty shortly here.
Yeah, and I think too, there's space. People are not going to get this course done in 5 minutes. This is like, it's going to take probably like a month or two. If you do the workbook version, I think it's probably it's like a summer course. We made it to be really robust. So we'll do the soft launch on the 5th, and then on the 30th we'll launch the cohort, and that'll go for 90 days. So really, it's pretty much 4 months down the road.
Yeah. Wow. No, I love the cohorts idea, just hearing it now. Like, I think it's going to be phenomenal. If we could make this a standard in education, right, where if you're teaching a course, you got to have a cohort where people can kind of participate, come together, united in learning about this thing. So I love the idea, and wherever we can help on that front in terms of making a reality, be it the first or the second cohort, we're happy to participate, with
cool.
our infrastructure existing and to be developed.
Yeah, I think even just encouraging people to take part in it is nice, because we're all going to learn together, right? It's like we're going to learn if our system worked like we thought. We're going to learn if our materials get consumed. We're going to learn what people learn. We're going to meet people. It's really a good thing. So I'm going to really work towards launching that. I know we're going to collaborate on that some, and then I'm just going to start probably next week putting everything up, at least getting the free course together, and we'll have that to link to and to think about. So yeah.
And I'll also say this is kind of my final comments here. We already have the infrastructure to kind of mint an NFT as a certificate. Okay. So we could probably, I'll speak with my development team and confirm if that is a reality that we could do for your course when you launch it, if that's something you want to do when it's actually launched. I don't think that'll be a problem at all, because we've already got it there. The proof of submission is just a lot more robust. You know what I mean? And it's got different options, and it'll be customizable by the instructor. Right now, it's kind of more of an admin side thing, custom request. We want to make it more where, when you're making the course, you can kind of toggle in or out. Oh, mint this course. Here's the image. Here's where the name of the person will be put in, stuff like that.
Well, let me ask you this as a final question then, because I haven't figured this part out 100%. And I've been thinking of just minting. I want like a participation cohort NFT. This is the process I'm thinking of, is that I'm going to give people a landing page. They can pre-sign up for it. It will probably be email based, because how else would I do it? And then once we launch, the first 200 people that sign up for it, we will mint our own NFT, and we will deploy that to their wallet, so they can email us their wallet and we can send it. But that has all kinds of like privacy stuff, right? So
I don't necessarily think so, right? Like, it's actually really simple when you're in terms of like on the back end, right? Because it would be kind of like an email newsletter, right? They sign up. It's kind of like a form they'll fill out. Here's my wallet address. First 200 people that sign up will get accepted into it. Or if you're doing it admissions based, where you're hand selecting people, right? And then you just send out the NFTs to the wallet that they input in. And if they input it wrong, it's on them for giving the wrong address, right? And then they can participate in the course. And also you'll basically you'll have the ability to either kick people out, right? Like let's say people are behaving maliciously, right? Or somehow a fraudster got an invite link because they signed up at the beginning before everybody else. You know what I mean? You'll be able to actually ban them from the LMS so that they can no longer join. Even if they have that NFT, we could basically blacklist it. You know what I mean? So that certain NFT within that policy ID is not allowed on. So yeah, I think the participation cohort, same way in terms of the certification. That's kind of more on the proof of knowledge, where it's your wallet is almost your academic ID, your student ID. You know what I mean? That's how you enter in, and you got to have your badge for this class. You got to have this, which is really just an NFT, right? You have your NFT for the first cohort of your DEA, perhaps masterclass doing a cohort in the future, right? Then they've got an NFT for that, and so on and so forth. So that's doable. I think that's probably the right framework to do it under.
Really good. I like it. I think we're going to get it
Yeah.
right. Get it right the first time.
I'm excited on everything we're doing. The ball's like I said, the ball's really rolling now, and we're starting to deliver everything. We've been working really hard last few months getting everything together, and now it's finally going to come to the spotlight. So I'm looking forward to your DEA release. I think it's going to be a massive success. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be great. Overwhelmingly welcomed by the community, and like I said, I'm hoping that this is a template to show other creators you should do the same thing, because there is a model that is successful. I think it's going to be great. So best of luck, but I'm not sure you need it.
Yeah, I think I think this is a really strong partnership team, and I'm excited to really shine in the actual race, right? So it'll be good. I know you have 100 million things to do, especially since now you have your own proposal that is in the works, and so I'm grateful for this time.
Yeah, thanks, Nadia. It's always good to see you, and we'll touch base soon. Good luck on it. Good luck on everything.